They desperately need to do some learning. I think we all agree with that. But it's pretty tough to do learning when you're playing every second day. Like, when are you going to have a practice? When can you actually get on the ice and do some things? And it's not like your Pee Wee club out there for the coaches in the audience. Practice in the NHL, generally speaking, doesn't have a lot of teaching involved. Systems and things like that are done in training camp and put in place, and this is the way we're going to execute, and yada, yada. Most NHL practices during the season are like 40 minutes of some up-tempo flow drills, and actually most of the time they do the same drills, and then you're off the ice. So there's a lot of things that need to be done here. We all know that. There's just not a lot of time to get these things into the schedule and get them done. So you're kind of stuck with what you're stuck with. You got a bunch of guys who need to learn through video or almost through osmosis. They need to learn how to play the game better. And you're getting what you're getting right now. It's going to be a slow process.
I hope not. But it's certainly starting to look that way. I mean, we did say 10 to 15 games it might take Jacques Martin to get these guys straightening up and flying right. Who knows? I keep using that golf swing analogy where, you're a terrible golfer and you take some lessons. And in the early going, it's a mess because you're trapped in this world of your old habits of your golf swing with what you're being taught now. And because they look uniquely bad right now with so much standing around and watching, am I in the right place? It doesn't look like the game is coming naturally to them right now. That's how it looks to me. I'm hoping that's the case. Guess we'll find out in the next 5 to 10 games if Jacques Martin's stuff is working. I think that's what the rest of the season really should be about. Experimentation, NHL boot camp, going back to basics. Because I kind of liken where the Sens are to a sort of a Lord of the Flies arrangement. I think I mentioned that in a recent episode, and that there weren't enough, veteran, proven people who've been down this road before. We're going to do a rebuild, everybody. But because you had Eugene Melnyk here, you got a rookie GM to handle things, to oversee it. And then a rookie coach came in after that. And then you just said, okay, all kids all the time. The kids got paid. They got leadership roles before they even won anything, before they learned how to be good defensive two-way pros. I guess you and I, Greg, we skew toward the older end of the Sens podcasters out there. I don't think there's any question about that. So we remember the old school way of doing things, and that is better overripe than underdeveloped. For a very long time in our formative years, NHL clubs would get a guy, even first overall draft picks, but very early draft picks, and just by policy, they'd send them down to the minors to be in the American Hockey League to get all the seasoning they need, learning how to be good pros, good at the team game, both sides of the puck. And until you learned that, that was the carrot you could dangle. You want to go up and make NHL money, kid, and be the superstar everybody thinks you can? Learn how to do it here, and then we'll send you up, and then you can go earn it. And after that, you think about the Montreal Canadiens back in the day, for example. They were a big veteran core, and guys like Guy Lafleur in the early 70s, he wasn't that good in the first couple of years, but they'd bring him in slowly, bring him under their wing, bench him when they needed to, and it would always be maybe one or two of those types of guys. That's how it kind of goes. Not this 8 or 9 young rookies all arriving at the same time, getting to do whatever they want without any veteran coach or veteran leadership in the locker room telling them how things are done. They got to do whatever they wanted, Lord of the Flies style, and they never got spanked for when they went sideways. In fact, they got $8 million a year. And so now it's breaking them down. It's breaking down the horses. And like you said off the top, that will take some time in all likelihood.
So here's a question for you. Like, I was thinking about this the other night while I was watching it. Is it too late for some of these players? Are some of these players, is their game so ingrained now that breaking habits and creating new habits, it's just not going to happen for some of them? Have they gotten to that point with some of these kids? And that kind of scares me, but it's true. I've seen it thousands of times. You are what you are. There's a certain stage in your hockey career where this is the type of player you are, and it's too late to try to change you into a different type of player. And the more I watch them play now, in the last couple of weeks, the more I'm starting to think this may be kind of difficult without having to move out a few of them.
I think that's what this season is about, again, not just NHL boot camp from Jacques Martin, but also identifying and evaluating Like, is player A too far gone? Is player B salvageable at this stage of the game? Um, yeah, and it's, I think about Brady Kachuk, for example. Like, that's a player anybody wants, no question about it. But it's not like he doesn't have his warts as well. And there's a guy that's been with this team for 6 straight years. He's been here 6 years already, and it's been losing all the way along. And learning how to win is a thing. And I mean, Brady Kachuk's had veteran influences, but as we've talked about, they weren't like guys that are in your top 6
Mhm.
or in your top 4 defense. They were always plug and play guys in the bottom half of the roster. And it seemed like those veterans, deferred to Kachuk, who was getting all the ice time. I'm not picking on Brady Kachuk. I'm just looking at him as an example. This has gone on for a very long time. So it is insane for us to think that 11 games into the Jacques Martin switch, that we're going to see really dramatic overnight differences. This stuff is set in. This is in this roster's bones right now,
Mhm.
and it's hard to change it around when you're you're feeling like garbage leaving the rink after loss after loss. So that's another component to this thing as well, because they're really getting discouraged at this stage.
But there is one thing I've taken away from it though. The reduction in the offense, I think, believe it or not, can almost be viewed as a positive sign.
Right.
If you can believe that. They're not as free and easy about jumping on the offense. They're not as reckless at the offensive blue line. They're not trying to get away with some silly offensive stuff that led to turnovers and chances against like they used to. So because of that, like that didn't those types of activities didn't fail all the time. Sometimes it worked. You don't want this guy to dangle through the whole team, but you know what? Once in a while it would work and it would lead to offense and it would lead to chances and goals. So because they don't do that as much, they're not creating as much offense. They don't get as many shots. They don't get as many chances. They don't get as many goals. So the fact that the offense is down, to me, if you want to be an optimist, can be viewed optimistically as, you know what, they're getting it a little bit. They're getting a little bit of the puck management ideas in the offensive zone at the blue line. They're starting to understand through the neutral zone, while in possession of the puck, how to manage the puck better. It's the defensive side of things, and it has been as long as we've been doing this show, Steve. We've been talking about how poor they are in their own zone, and that's where I'm a little nervous that some of these guys aren't going to be here for the long haul because either the coach or the GM or somebody's going to say, you know what, this kid's never going to get it. Let's move him now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking at guys right now. It's not, again, I think they're caught in a hybrid of what they were
Mm-hmm.
and what they hope to be. I think you have to get worse before you get better, because this hybrid space they're in right now, I mean, I look at everybody, like guys like Jake Sanderson, right? That's a guy that everybody started the year going, no, that guy, that's one guy that you can count on. He looks like
Does not
he's a
look
bit
good.
lost right now. No, everybody looks a little bit lost right now. It's because they're learning something new. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like mentally they're looking at the bench going, is this what you want me to do, Jacques? And
Mm-hmm.
so as a result, they're not clear on what they're doing. It's not coming naturally to them right now. They're not sure if they're in the right place, not sure if they're making the right read, making the right decisions. And that's why it looks, I think, maybe even worse than it was under DJ Smith right now, because they're still trying to figure things out. And I think it will improve between now and the end of the season gradually.
Yeah.
Again, not overnight. Tell me they're going to beat I almost swore, the San Jose Sharks, who are the dead last team overall in the NHL. They're going to take them on Saturday afternoon at 4:00. Tell me they're going to handle the Sharks, Greg.
Well, the Sharks looked okay in Montreal on the
I
Thursday
know.
night,
I
didn't they?
know.
Like, who knows? But yeah, San Jose. I think they've got their they've now exceeded their win quotient quota for the month. So yeah, they're probably gonna San Jose's gonna
Yeah,
lose.
they win every 12 games
Yeah,
like clockwork, that team
exactly.
right
That's
there.
it. That's enough. We're done. Okay, we're gonna go on another long bender.